It's a blessing to see everyone. I thank you all for taking the time out just to come to hear my story. I was born and raised in Chicago, Illinois. And the first traumatic event that happened to me in my life, which I didn't realize that it was a traumatic event, was when I had the gun pulled on me, 7 years old, coming out of grade school. And everybody kept going. Seemed like didn't nobody want to help, didn't nobody say scream or anything. And all I could see was colors. I remember how that pistol felt. Don't know why that person did it. I was anticipating on the next thing coming. And somebody got my father, and they said, and I found this out years later, that I was froze when he came and grabbed me from them steps. So I don't even know when the person that pulled it left. And that did something to me from then on out. 2 years later, my dad died. Went to work, foreman at a can company, used the bathroom, gone before he hit the floor, 33 years old. Now I'm being told that I'm the man of the house because I'm the oldest. And at 10 years old, how do you process that? And then I find out that my uncles who were telling me this didn't support us because my mother would not have sex with them. Which my mother, strong woman she is, went on, barmaid, whatever it was necessary to make sure that we were straight. And for the fact that they did that, I was left with, who can I come to? So I joined the organization, the Black Peace Stone Nation in Chicago. They became my uncles and big brothers. They became family back then in the early 80s, which is not like it is now, but they have incentives. They told me to stay in school, gave me knowledge of self, that I can get, they would buy the gym shoes, they would make sure I was straight. But their goal for us back then was just go to school so we could be better people for our community. Before the crack cocaine era. And I did that. And then that came. So a lot of leaders then got locked up or killed. Crack comes. Now we are engaging in that because that organization, we didn't allow that in our neighborhoods. And if anybody from Chicago knows that, yeah, that's how they operated then. But when leadership changed and things went the way it did, people change and here comes that. And so I'm hustling, young, without my mom knowing. And then I wanted to be like the guys that were my role models, leaders to me. And so every night, and because I was doing a good job, I was allowed to sit at the round table at 15, 16. And they were snorting and counting money, and some of them freebasing. The first time I seen that, yeah. And to me, this must be part of the game. Y'all got these nice cars, y'all doing all this good, it seemed like good things, and I want to partake in that. And they're like, nah, this ain't for you. This ain't for you. But I was determined. And so, a couple of them like, he want to snort, let him snort too. And that's the first time I snorted at 16, not knowing what was coming down the line. And it led to what we call primos. I don't know what y'all call them down here. We would crush up and put it in the weed and doing that a lot, yeah. But that lifestyle almost killed me. When my mother found out that I was in the gang or organization, she adamantly did what she could to get me into the military. She basically tricked me. And so I went in the Navy, and that changed. But I took the same man in the Navy. And I wasn't doing drugs, but I was drinking heavy. And it had to be 100 proof or better. So, went to captain's mast like 3 times for drinking. Eventually, they had to let me go. Luckily, I didn't get a dishonorable. And I still have, which I found out later, benefits, because I didn't think I was a veteran or had benefits because I didn't complete the 4 years, and plus I was all over the place. So, but later on, it makes sense now today because I probably would have messed up a lot of stuff worse because my mind wasn't right. But being released from them and coming back, I come back to the streets, come back to the organization and go even harder. I'm sharing that part, so I'm hoping that you'll understand why, at the end, when I finish, why I do what I do today. My mother didn't condone a lot of that, so I had to leave home. And now I'm full blown in the streets. I witness some things, I see things that I really don't want to say right now, or well, on this platform, because they are horrific. Just know that this person standing before you is a blessing. I'm a miracle. And if God can bless me, I know he can do it for someone else. But I've been in gun wars. I watched people OD and still didn't leave. I hustled with the same clothes on because I was scared if I left that somebody else would come and they'll serve them. I neglected my oldest daughter because the organization needed me. I felt if I didn't, it was going to violate me. So I took my oldest daughter at 1 across the hall to a neighbor. And intended on come back, but get caught up with the organization, never came back. And pride wouldn't let me come back until 9 days later. Luckily, she understood today. Her mother didn't. And her mother finally forgave me for that, but yeah, this is what that lifestyle will do. So you would think, well, he ain't smoking crack, you gotta do it. How did that happen? Because my mind was distorted too. You don't have to be on heroin or crack or coke or whatever to be distorted, to be traumatized or still, and not dealing with the other trauma or the other things that may have happened in your life. And I didn't know this at the time. And was once the victim, but wasn't fighting hard not to be the victimizer too at the same time. I thought I could straddle the fence. I could make a difference on these streets doing what I do, but it didn't work. Eventually, the alcohol got heavy, and the lady I was with, she couldn't take it. So me, I didn't want to, I'm not paying nobody whose house is getting high money to stay there so they can keep waking me up and take all my work. So I slept in the streets. I would ride the trains to the end, to the morning. I would do whatever. I mean, yeah, I couldn't get a hotel money because I was losing that way. I chose to do it a different way that I thought would work. And then one thing led to another, and I found that myself sleeping in abandoned buildings. Alcohol. Now I'm hustling just to support the habit. of alcohol, eating, and then my habits were buying nice clothes, keeping. I figured if I kept myself up, y'all wouldn't know. So if I had on, my shoes was clean, my clothes were clean, and I could still drink, and I ain't got to worry about no job because I ain't smoking no weed or doing no cocaine. So I think I'm safe doing that. That's a hell of a way to live. And so, not seeing what's coming down the pipe, gather with some people and call a burglary, and now I'm going to the penitentiary. Get out the penitentiary for the fact that I am connected with an organization with status. They made it hard on me. They said I couldn't be around nobody that was affiliated or the opposition. I couldn't be so many feet from a liquor store, so how am I supposed to go get my kids' milk? And then at their store, they may have some members out there, so it was suggested that our parole get it switched down here to North Carolina when my brother was in Camp Lejeune in the Marines at the time. And this is my first time coming to Carolina in 2003. Successfully got off parole, but still brought the same man. So I got up with the local people of Jacksonville and Maple Hill, and I came at a time I think they just had raided Maple Hill. So I was like, fresh face, and jumped back in the game. And still did some unhealthy things. By the mercy and the grace of God, I didn't go back to the penitentiary. By the mercy and the grace of God, I didn't hurt nobody, but I was on my way to doing that. My cousin got murdered in 15, because I left down here 13, went back up to Chicago. And that's a turning point in my life. This is a man who also was in the organization, but we older now, so it was senseless. He wasn't doing nothing wrong or anything, it just took him out. That was an eye-opener for me. 9 months later, I put down my guns and I stopped drinking. God said, that's enough, Dwight. And so in my mind, back in the day, if you want a detox, you just go to a detox. I found out that they don't exist. And I walked to a hospital. That's how determined I was to change. And they said, you feel like suicidal with us? I said, no, I just want to get sober, get my mind. Are you suicidal? I said, no, because I wasn't. I just want to get myself together. Are you suicidal? Have you ever thought about it? Well, you know what? Yeah, well, I have had that thought, and that's all they wanted to hear. I was on the behavioral health unit, that's what they call them, for 3 weeks, dealing with anxiety disorder, depression. It's a lady that came up there, because they would do little meetings up there on the floor. She was from the Salvation Army. Suggested that I should try them. And I was like, a thrift store? I didn't know they did adult rehabilitation. And so she said, no. I did them, 6 months. They were so impressed. I guess it's the way I went in. I was tired. And this is 2016. I was tired. That the captains, they have officers that run it, and the lieutenant came and sat me down and said, what do you think about working for us? And I said, have y'all seen my background? They said, yeah. They said, one of these assaults, was this doing when you was drinking? I said, yeah. They said, kind of figured that. Which is odd because a lot of employers don't even consider that when they're going through they just see the assault and be like, he violent. They looked at me, they was watching me and knew that, yeah, okay. They hired me as a resident supervisor. From there, I went on to become an intake coordinator. Got my alcohol drug counselor's license for the state of Illinois, went to Ohio, and continued on working in treatment centers, helping people. The rest is history. Met my wife who was from here, who didn't want to come up north. Prayed on it, and I come down here. And when I came, I seen LINC hiring for, I think, a behavioral health tech. So I put in for it. And then I think it was Nita, she was still living, man, she rests in peace. So she talked to me first. And she tell Vince and Frank, she said, y'all better hire this man. And I met Frank, I met Vince. When I came to the building, it reminded me of places I've been working at prior to coming down here, to my Merck campus. I walked in feeling at home. That was the connection with me. I don't know what the connection with Frank and Vince was, but yeah, with me, I felt like this is it. And next thing I know, I got hired part-time. They couldn't hire me full-time at the time, so I went. And this goes to show you how when you're doing the right thing, I'm a living witness of this, that God opens up doors and time is the healer. So since you couldn't hire me full-time, Target was hiring for reverse logistics. And if you know what that is, that's serious for that type of organization. They ran my background and everything, yeah, and hired me and trusted me, and yeah. And I left there. I'm still in good terms with Target. So when the time came open full-time, I come all the way over here full-time. And my point is I continue to do, once I realized my purpose in life was just to help people and stay sober, and the only way I can do that, or God can use me, is for me to continue to be sober, I accepted that. I became convinced that I am not a social drinker. If I drink, it's over. I am convinced. I did it too many times and tried on my own, which I failed on my own. This is why I give all the glory to God. I don't know what else to tell anybody. Although I know everybody, some people are skeptical, I get it. But you ask me and you wonder why, it's all God. So even to this day, that motivates me. Because if you knew where I was at, sleeping in the park, washing up in McDonald's bathroom, eating with the winos, you know, I mean, I can go on and on, my story. And my story is so extensive that God allows me to use it to help other people come up out of the struggle that they're in. I am a living witness. I used to be somebody that probably going to this church over here, using the computer or whatever resource. And I'm not ashamed of that. I'm not ashamed, and nor do I let anybody make me feel like I should be ashamed of that. It's time out for that. I don't care about being on the front line and going in the trenches and being used by God. This is why I continue to be enthused, and my ambition is strong. Not for me, so God get the glory, and I know it's going to touch somebody else. And no matter where I go, I done started in Chicago. When it started back at home to Ohio, now I'm here, wherever God send me. As long as I stay in that purpose, on that lane, all is well. I was scared with the gang members. They said, brother, even the opposition keep doing what you're doing. We need more of us out here doing that. Because I was scared they was going to do something because you're always going to be a member, but I'm a non-active member, giving back. And when you for real and you do things authentically, people support you whether you believe it or not. You get out there on that BS, then you get what's coming down the pipe. And this is how I give it to them. I'm nobody that's that great. And some people say, Dwight, you should give yourself credit for something. For what? When every time I tried it, it failed. God gets all this glory, all this credit. I'm just a little willing vessel. Give it back. So this is a super, super short version. I hope I edited as much as I could. Because there's a lot to tell and a lot of things I've seen, and then I don't want to be censored or whatever, so I try to keep it clean. But I hope that it penetrates and y'all can take it and help some. I'm part of the solution today. Meet us in the middle. I may not be from Wilmington, but I am LINC. I don't think Frank can fathom the people that him doing what he did and how it went all over this country that he's going to be able to help. Or God's going to bring into his life or this organization to continue to go back out there and help others. This is how real it is. May God bless you all and thank you for letting me speak.